Hello, jury of season 7 of the Collective Singularity. If you guys do not know who Benji and I are, I am Billy Vance. I am the season 2 flop and the season 5 winner of the Collective, Benji.
I am Benji. I am also the successor of the season two flop, the round after, and final eight from season six, and have been in the jury last season, so I know what it's been like to be in your position tonight.
So, just a few basic ground rules. Obviously, Benji mentioned this before we went on. They're going to be seeing this afterwards. So, let's try and keep it as respectful as possible. I know you guys get kind of heated in the jury chat. Obviously, I understand the game is the game, but let's try and keep it game. Benji and I will have mute buttons and we're not afraid to use them. Please don't make us go there. We want to keep it as respectful as possible. I understand you guys have emotions that you want to get out, but if let's try and keep it game, stay away from the personal. um, so, really, what we're here to do is just analyze how you guys are feeling going into the finale tomorrow night. What are your positive feelings, your negative feelings? What are you looking for in a final speech? What do you hope they don't say in a final speech? And genuinely, are you guys decided? Kind of. So, I kind of want to start that off with pretty much like going into this. Hands up if you're 80% decided or more on where your jury vote is going to go. I'm not going to ask who. We'll get into that. I just want to know if you guys are able to be swayed. So we have more people who are less willing to be swayed than others. Do we just prediction time? Do you guys feel like this is going to be a unanimous vote, or is this very much juries have split?
No.
You guys have a split perspective on how this is going to go. Okay, I'm very interested in what you guys have to say. However, let's start talking about our two finalists. We have Allison and we have Jimmy. We're going to go in alphabetical just to keep it easy. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you guys start with the positives in Allison's game, whether it was the strategic fashion, the physical fashion, the social fashion, jury management. I just want to hear some positives about that. And then we can go into the negatives later on, but we're going to start with the positives. So whenever you guys are, anybody can start and we can go from there.
Morg, you want to
I'm
go?
I could say some positives about
Yeah,
Allison
go
game.
ahead, girl.
I think Allison played a very, if it's straight game, Allison played a very well game. She found very good people to work with. She spread it out. She wasn't into a lot, and she won a lot of comps. I think she played a really well-rounded game. She found the right people to click up with, and she won when it mattered. And then when she didn't win, I feel like she made strategic efforts to make sure that she wasn't put up, and she wasn't. So, round of applause to her.
Yeah, for sure. Like having played the entirety of the game against Allison, it felt like she was completely unstoppable, no matter what anybody tried to do. I mean, she's sitting at the end with however many comp wins, however many first place finishes. She's never had a vote cast against her, never been a nominee. Like it's very impressive the game that she played and was allowed to play. So I give her
Yeah.
props.
And like I said last night, I think what was very telling is when we did touchy subjects and no one outwardly freaked out about anything. I'm like, okay, well that's weird because everyone should kind of see how this went down. And from where I was sitting, it didn't look like anyone wanted to do anything about it. Now, obviously, I figured out later that we all did. And yet, still, like everyone has said, was able to avoid the block um, at every turn, was able to win a lot of these challenges. And this was a pretty good mix of challenges that we were kind of thrown at this season. So, I know these are all things that we can do from our home, but the fact that there was someone, along with a couple of y'all, that were able to just kind of kill in most of it, props to all of you. I would say that within her circle, um, it was very Redemption Island esque, where she was just playing with a bunch of, and so I think that made her path a lot easier to the end. But like, you can't blame her for having an easy path. she did what she had to do. She worked with the people that she had in her circle, and it worked. So you can't fault her for that.
I'm gonna step in with a question really quick because we did see something new within the format this season with the singularity in which you gained a power or an ability, and it was just mentioned that Allison did have quite a few first places on her back. How do we feel about how she went about utilizing this new tactic that came into the game?
Powers she got. The only one I can remember from top of my head was the live night one when she put that disadvantage on Josh and Josh made it to the collective.
And he still won. So
Yeah. I would say like the singularities didn't really play a huge factor in the game. Like the powers never seemed to really super tip the scales. I think she used the ones that she had in the way that made the most sense, but it didn't really matter.
I don't
Yeah, I
think
feel
there
like the
was really
immunities.
any. I don't think there was really. Sorry, Andrew. I don't think there was any that was like potentially game altering, like super
Mhm.
crazy powers. They're all pretty tame. But like same with Grace, I can't really remember apart from the Josh one. What
I mean, she
she
won immunity. Like she got a free trial one round to win herself immunity, and she did, as expected. Um,
Oh
and
yeah.
then I
Wait,
think
which one was
she
that?
got like a mini trial early on to get
Yeah,
herself immunity.
It was during the live night or the first live night.
Mhm.
She competed in her challenge
Oh
before
yes, yes,
that,
yes.
and then
Okay.
she got an automatic spot in the collective that
Yeah,
round.
but other than that, it wasn't like there wasn't anything that really
No, there wasn't
changed the game
any.
up.
No, there wasn't like any like thing too crazy. So, yeah.
And that goes for really everybody. Like nobody
Which
used
was
like a crazy
good.
power.
Yeah, which is good that none of them were like super insanely OP.
I was hoping that's actually when they announced the twist. Actually, I was really hoping they wouldn't be that OP like that because that would have been crazy.
yeah, I fully expected there to be a twist where the um the person that got the singularity could switch the noms at the end of it, which I thought would have been the most OP thing. But
That would have
just
been
piggybacking off everyone else has said, I think that the people that have been immune during certain rounds that got the two extra or got the extra vote, I think they had way more power in the game than the people that actually had the singularities.
I agree. I agree with that.
All right, spinning back to Allison's positives real quick. Is there anyone that hasn't spoken on that would like to speak on that? And if not, any closing remarks before we move on to the next part?
I will say, I saw her do something that I feel like it's especially in this community. I feel like, and I've talked about it too with like not in this game, but talked about it around the community. I feel like anytime a woman shows a lot of power in these games, they get automatically targeted and oh, they need to go home. And the fact she was able to like just strategically dominate and people still wanted her around in the game, I think that's actually like impressive. That is
Mhm.
very impressive.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I told her that to her face. My favorite archetype is a strong female villain, so it was very fun to watch that from her perspective.
All right,
But
anything else before we move on? Going once, twice, perfect. All right, so we have talked about Allison's positive points. Let's get into the nitty-gritty here. Were there any negative points to Allison's game that we would like to bring forth?
I know that I've expressed this, and I know that a lot of other people have as well. They didn't like the way that she talked to them, and didn't like the way that she talked about them to other people as well. Because there was a lot of stuff going around the house most of the game. Everyone kind of knew what was being said, and only some of the times would we actually like, go to each other and actually confirm or deny what's going on with it. And I feel like with her, she didn't care because it didn't matter. This goes back to the positive, but it didn't matter what she would say about other people or how she talked to people, because people were just going to go along with it anyway because of whatever. Some people were just that loyal, and some people thought, oh, we're in the same circle, so there might be a chance we can get to them with each other. But I would say that her biggest negative is just she didn't know how to talk to people, and it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Or bouncing off what Andrew said. Sorry,
Go
Sean.
ahead, boo.
Or
Go ahead, boo.
no, you go ahead first.
Um, I would say a negative for me is I remember going off one day because everybody just start fucking crying. That's the day Grace left. I was so fucking pissed why the fuck everybody crying. But I had to think about it. These people are playing so personally that they not looking at the game. And excuse me, I'll just start smoking. I don't think that Allison was really playing the game when it came to feelings. I think she was more personal, and that affected the whole thing. In the beginning, though, I think it started off game and cool, but then at the end, I think it got real personal, and the connection she made was so personal that, like, if I flip on Allison right now, I'm not gonna be her friend in real life no more. It shouldn't be that, you know. So I kind of like I feel like it was just like a more personal approach when it didn't have to be.
And
I
kind of
agree.
bouncing off what Andrew said, it was either how she would talk to people or the lack of talking to people, where I think some people felt there was no game relationship or anything going on at all. And I think, regardless of how well you're playing, if you haven't even tried to establish that with somebody, it's hard to give them that respect at the end because you just feel like you were an afterthought to them. So I do think that's one thing that's going to work negatively against her, and I would like to see how she could explain how, I don't want to use the word isolating, but I guess I have to, like how isolating certain people in the house is a positive.
Not only isolation, it's more so like I told you what to do. You didn't do what I told you to do. I'm not talking to you no more. And it's like, damn, bitch, I thought we was cool, you know? Like one of those. So I didn't feel isolated. I felt dismissed. Like, okay, I don't need you this no more. You're dismissed.
Like you
I got
kind of
everything
like
else.
you aren't useful anymore, so
Yeah,
be
like,
gone.
bye. you know.
I'm
There was
gonna be talking about both finalists with this, but specifically with her. They so they had such a mindset of wanting to stay circle strong, and not only just circle strong, but to the point where they wanted that circle with AJ, Maya, Jared, Scott to work. Well, it didn't work out obviously because Jared left, and they wanted to, like, the eight of them wanted to dominate and just pick the rest of us off. And what I realized with her specifically is that me and her at the beginning of the game, I really enjoyed my conversations with her. I talked a good, like, she was one of the people I talked to a good amount. And I even she was one of my first calls I went on, and I liked talking, and like our game conversation was so good. And I feel like once the circles got leaked, which she is responsible for happening as early as they did, I feel she found out those circles, completely cut her conversations down with me, and would just give me like one worded responses. And at that point, I was the person initiating all conversation with her. And she just seemed like she just didn't want to talk to me anymore because I wasn't in her circle. And it's like, me and other people in that point of the game, we were secured a spot on that jury. And it's just like, why would you go out of your way just because we're not in your circle and we're not gonna wanting to sit here and pick everybody off one by one? You're just gonna go ahead and shove them off to the side like that. And also the fact she also like would stop sharing information with me, and I would find out what she was doing from other people, and she would be all wishy-washy with me. And I don't know. I just don't like that because I literally still tried. And because, why? Because I wasn't in your circle. So you're just going to ice me out. Got it.
And I would say, to go off of that, there were two people in the game, and she was one of them that I felt like used emotional manipulation to get them on their side. Um, and once again, I do feel like there's a lot of people here that it kind of makes them feel gross. That was a tactic used to get us on their sides. And I think that going off what Grace just said, I can find a pinpoint moment where I felt like I lost her and another individual because I didn't play into that anymore. Like I would just say, this is what I'm doing. I'm not going to go along with this, but I hope you understand because I'm not going after you. And in return, what would happen is I would just get dragged because I didn't stay in my lane, basically. And then there's the she wouldn't be the one that cries, but like there were just things and how she would phrase things that would make it seem like, oh, she's trying to really play to the heart of this, and I'm not doing that. Like I don't play that way. Um, and then yeah, what I think when the Frank Josh round happened, I think that's when a lot of things um started to shift in the game as far as her relationships with other people, because that was also around the time the circle started getting leaked. Um, and yeah, I put a lot of that blame on her.
All right, anybody else?
I was gonna kind of point out someone specifically. AJ, I haven't heard a lot from you so far. I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are because I think you're the only person who hasn't said anything so far. So, not to put you in the spotlight, but I'm kind of curious about your thoughts about Allison as a whole.
Maya too.
Maya too. I'm sorry. You're correct.
I think I have a very different perspective of the finalists than most of the people here because I didn't have any of this experience with people, with them not talking to me or not wanting to have a game relationship with me. They both actively pursued me very throughout the game. I think a lot of that was because of how close I was with Scott, since he was incredibly close with Allison, of course. And so I think maybe I just lucked out there because I didn't experience any of this, and it's really disheartening to hear about it afterwards. Like I would never support icing somebody out over a game. I think that's silly. So it's kind of sad to hear that was happening with the people that I was working with. Um, I wish I'd heard about it a bit more in depth sooner. I think Allison played a very strong game. I think everybody knew that she was a strong player the entire time, and none of us were able to do anything to her. I think the fists that she ruled over her circle with was impressive. I think they did a very good job. Over to Maya.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want to put it.
I feel like she did use a lot of emotion, at least in her conversations with me. And I had, similar to Grace, I had a lot of conversations with her from the jump. Um, and they were good conversations to the point where I felt close with her pretty quickly. And then I wasn't involved like AJ was in the conversations regarding strategy and anything. I was left out of all that. So I did notice a sharp drop off. I didn't know if it was because of me and just my lack of response or if it was because of her not wanting to talk to me or whatever the deal was. I didn't take it personally, but I don't know. That that was that experience, and then it was after one of the votes where there was a tie. We got on a call really quick, and she really tried to infuse a lot of emotion into the things that she was telling me, and it's more stuff that I want to talk to her about tomorrow, but I didn't like the emotion that she infused. That's like the main gist, is I think it was too much. Everything that she did was emotionally charged in terms of how she spoke to Allie when that whole thing happened, how she spoke to me. I don't know how she spoke to all of you, but I would imagine that it probably infused a lot of emotion too. So it probably happened to all of us, and she used that to get ahead. And that's my problem.
Maya, can I ask you when that conversation that you mentioned with her happened? After which tie?
I had so many ties.
That's what I'm saying. There was a
That's
lot.
why I had to smile
Oh my
at
gosh.
which time.
Because there was at one point after one that we had gotten the four of us together And we said, okay, after this, we got to get Maya on board. And the reason she didn't want you on board with us in the first place was because she had seen that you were closer to Josh, Morgs, Denton, and Grace. So I don't want to say you were kind of written off at that point from our perspective, but it was kind of more just like, okay, well, Maya's with them. So, and then all of a sudden, you had stayed. And I think it was the vote with you and AJ. And then it became all of a sudden now we need Maya, so let's go get Maya. So I can't confirm that was
I
the
think
timeline on that one, but I know at one point she had said, I want to make an effort to try to scoop Maya up now at this point.
I think you're right. I think it was the vote with AJ, so that sounds right. And it's just funny that you say that she wrote me off as being close
Well, the
to
idea was that,
others.
yeah, the idea was that you were closer with Logan, Josh, and Andrew than you were.
Logan is in her circle. I thought the whole thing was circle strong.
That
Okay.
was that okay.
Um,
Your
and like
thing,
from my
whatever relationship you
perspective though, I was a free agent. And so I just didn't really understand why she wasn't talking to me the way she was talking to the entire rest of my circle who was there.
have.
I was just being left out of the conversation. So
Which is where the idea of like the seven then, because it would like
the seven was never a
my,
thing.
that's what
The
I'm saying.
seven was made
My
up.
that's what I'm
It's
saying. My I like don't take this the wrong way, please, but it was like us four and then AJ and Scott. So it's like I don't know
Oh, okay.
where.
So I no, but
Sorry.
that doesn't add up to seven. You know
No,
that
I
that
know
adds
it
up to
doesn't. So I don't know where the seven came from
So this
because
is
like
like
that had never been
seven was
like
quoted
that had
by
never
a
been
specific
mentioned to me.
Oh
finalist.
my God, I gotta take a lot of sips, y'all.
I don't know if that had been mentioned, like, but no one ever came to me and said
Martin
like
early.
no one ever said to me like this is a seven person that we want. Like I don't know. So I don't know where that one came from, but
Oh, it's one of the finalists said it in the live night publicly out
Mhm.
loud, and I immediately caught that and put that in the jury chat so quickly.
Mhm.
yeah, no.
Just to touch on the personal thing and like the drop off, I also got to experience that as somebody that worked closely with Allison in the beginning. We talked all the time. I had a threesome chat with Scott and Allison. We were very close. I was working very closely with them. And then the second I didn't, it was dead. I'm not talking to you. And I had to be the person to be like, I know we're not working together, but you don't have to like not talk to me. Like we can talk about non-game related things. Like we're all still here. I know we're not working together. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to completely ice me out. Like we were chilling before this. Like we were cool. So it didn't
And
have to be like a complete shut off.
Morgs, and I go off of that. Raise your hand if you were in a 3 or 4 with Allison and Scott. Okay. Well, I knew about you two, but
Does anybody else have any other thoughts that they want to mention? Anything about Allison?
I thought of something else too, like because I kind of touched on it, like with her leaking the circles. Because I don't know when I see this format, and I talked to a couple people about this. When I see the format of this org specifically, I feel like the whole purpose is to keep those a secret or keep it as quiet as long as possible. And I feel like I don't know, I just don't like her and Logan just going out of the way to be able to like just expose that early. I don't know whether that was supposed to be just so they can cut and dry, pick people off. I don't know what the strategy behind that was, and I'm kind of want to know why they did that.
Did we want to like touch on that and like dive into that? Because I would love to know everyone's perspective on what they think happened when all of it started getting leaking. Like who's to blame?
Morgs, I talked to you. I was like, I talked to you right after the Josh Frank round, and you mentioned, "Hey, so the circles are out," and I'm like, "Well, what do you mean the circles are out?" It's like they're out. I'm gonna tell you who alleged that they are in, and then I'm like, oh shit. Well, if mine is accurate, then I'm fairly certain at least some of these are accurate, and I had to do a couple of switches at that point. But you said that you had heard it. I want to say you heard it from Logan, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
And then as that next day happened, I think I went to Chanel. I think I went to Maya and I think I went to Grace, and I think Jeff was still there at that point. And I said, "Hey, like this is out. And people know this." But when I went to Allison about it, I got the coy, "Oh, I don't know what this is. Like, are we sure?" It's like, okay, yeah, it could just, but it's coming from your circle, so I'm just going to assume that you're either at the very bottom of your circle, which is probably not true, or you do know and you're just being coy, which is fine because I play coy very well most of the time, so I don't knock her for that. But at that point, I kind of figured that it come from at least two people from that circle. And then, in my opinion, I thought it was someone else outside of that circle as well, but I didn't go into any type of detective mode because I didn't care that much until I did.
Mike, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Did you actually tell Cameron about the circles like they had tried to say?
No.
Okay, so
I can say I don't
yeah.
remember ever doing it. I mean, me and Cam were really tight, but for the sake of this game, I would have never leaked the circle. Like if someone guessed, I'm kind of bad at the like, oh no, who knows? So like that could have been picked up on, but I never explicitly went to Cameron and said like, here's my circle. Like me and Cameron were tight, but we were not that tight.
Yeah. So
Love you,
Logan
love you,
leaked
love you,
them
by the way.
all. Logan leaked them all to Allie, and
And then they both
Allie
came and
told
yelled at, and they
me.
both came and yelled at me about it. They were like, "You leaked the circles. You like what the
Well,
fuck?"
that it was their plan. I was trying to tell you that it was their plan to set it all on you. I was trying to work with you at that time, but I was trying to cause a lot of division in your circle. I wanted y'all to break up so bad, so I was like, "This person said this person that said that," and
Well,
I
at
was like,
that
"Thank you,
point,
Allie, for telling
at that
me."
point, it was Allison and Logan, and then it was me and Jimmy. Like that was,
Mm.
and then I don't know what happened with Allison and Logan, but they like fell out, and I think it was because of Logan's relationship with Allie in the game because like those two were having
Yeah.
whatever they were having, so then it became like Logan had kind of become love you, Logan, kind of became the whatever then at that point. But then they got back together again and they broke up. It was weird.
This game was weird.
Speaking of this game, Billy,
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
would
It's
you
your
like to
turn.
lead them into the?
No, I led them in the first one. You lead them into this one.
Okay,
No.
okay.
Wait. No.
Look at me.
You're right. Let's
Oh,
talk about Jimmy.
oh, look at Billy Vance admitting I'm right.
Yeah, I book it and never hear it again. No, but let's talk about Jimmy's game. The positives of Jimmy's game. What did Jimmy do well strategically? What did Jimmy do well socially? What did Jimmy do physically? Let's hear it.
He was good in the challenges.
Jimmy competed well in competition.
Yes, he was
That's all.
he did well in the challenges and he offered to lay down at the final two. So
I was going to say he played a great Natalie and Redemption Island game, and that's great because you get to go to the end. I think that also what Jimmy did well, and I brought this up to a couple people in the game. Whenever you could actually have a conversation with Jimmy, it was amazing. Like I loved talking to Jimmy when me and Jimmy talked. The problem is me and Jimmy didn't talk often, and what I started to figure out is Jimmy's on because I would hear about conversations that Jimmy would have. It's like, oh, we don't have those conversations. It's like, oh, Jimmy's only talking to the people that Jimmy's working with, and in a social game, it's not the best. Yeah, competitions did very well. Got to the end, another person that got clocked during touchy subjects that people we tried, we failed. Was able to get out of that. So, I think that is and he was circle strong, to the end. And you can't fault him for that at all.
I mean, I
I
can
heard it
say
come out of my mouth, and I'm like,
I can say like
A little.
when you're offering to kind of like I'm willing to just come in second place to all three of us, then it's kind of like, from my point, I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, I'll go with you and win. But I get like everyone else that just looks terrible. Then So
Yeah.
I thought you were saying something.
Grace,
A pos-
you cut out like horribly there, Grace, whatever you just said.
I said, I guess a positive. Yeah, like he killed the challenges. There's that. Is he was loyal? Well, not to people like me, but to everybody else. He seemed like he was a valuable ally for like Mike and AJ. So I'll give him that. And loyalty's cute. It's cute.
Uh,
Oh, you remuted yourself. You were
Yeah,
already unmuted.
you're muted.
embarrassing. Is that
You're
better?
never gonna
Yes.
get the promotion with that. You're never gonna get the promotion with things like that.
Uh-oh. Sorry about that. I liked Jimmy a lot, so we got along very well. He was very loyal. I think he also could be very convincing when he wanted to be. There was a time he convinced Scott to save him whenever Scott was not originally planning on doing it, and he got Scott to switch off the plan to save him. And so I thought he did well there. Um, Whenever he wanted and whenever he had something to get, he could get it. I think he was very good at achieving what he wanted and getting what he wanted out of people. He just needed to talk to everybody else, apparently, was the issue.
Because that's the thing, though. It's like he was good, like with us, AJ. But then it's like it's hard to really sit there and just be like, okay, he like killed it when everybody else is saying like, they got nothing then. And like he was good when he wanted something, but that's the problem. If that's the only time you approach somebody, it's really obvious. That's the only reason that you're talking to someone is because you want something. And I love them both to death, but like you got to kind of call a spade there. It's
I personally had a good relationship with Jimmy up to one point. Works, so we don't got to talk about it. But I personally had a good relationship with Jimmy. Jimmy kind of like kept me in the loop, but I was like, so I never really thought about the circles until somebody was like, "Hey, this person in this circle," and then the final twos got the final twos. That's when I really start thinking about circles. Whole time I'm not thinking Jimmy with Allison and shit. I'm not even thinking about that. So Jimmy just feeding me in. I'm like, okay, Jimmy, thank you. Jimmy telling me shit. I'm like, thank you. Jimmy, like, you will be saved. I'm like, okay. Like, Jimmy was like low key helping me out. I think around the time I secured my final two with Allie is when it was like, okay, I'll talk to you, Chanel, but I'm gonna just heart your message and talk to you in 3 days when you go back up on the block. Like, it was like one of those. So I think Jimmy was cool. He got a lot of information out of me when I didn't even know what was going on. I was super naive. Um, he fed a lot of information. He was just like a little snaky snake, but a good snaky snake until the snake got caught out the grass.
That's so interesting. Um, I mean, I've said my piece on Jimmy multiple times now to everybody while in the game and now out of it. Like, we had our first conversation the final day. It lasted 3 minutes and it was 20 minutes before the live started. So
was it a
it
good 3 minutes?
was,
Was it a good 3 minutes?
he got called away by Allison and had to leave. So I don't know if it was good. It was fine. We didn't really talk about anything other than this is what I'm doing. This is what you're doing. Oh, okay. Allison needs me. Leaves.
Buddy
So
system.
yeah, it was very. Jimmy was one of the more frustrating people in the game, um, because early on I tried to reach out to Jimmy a lot, and we talked, especially bonding over both loving Chanel and wanting Chanel to be safe. And it became very apparent very quickly that he did not give a fuck, actually, for real. Um, there were multiple stretches of the game where it was no message reply whatsoever for multiple stretches of days, like a week at most at one point, of not speaking or replying, just a little heart react. So it was just very apparent where Jimmy was all the time. And I will say people are saying like, oh, he got his way. Like it's kind of easy to get your way when you have the numbers on your side and like you're winning the competitions. Like it's easier to get your way when it co-aligns with what other people wanted too. So
I will say something about Jimmy because the couple times that I got him and was able to talk a little bit with him, like he's still, I he's like good to talk to, and I'll talk more on this when we get to the negatives as to some of the things that happened. But I don't know. I've actually known Jimmy for, let's see, it's 2026, right? I've known Jimmy literally for 8 years about now. And I was like so excited to see him here. And so I'm like, we got those nice, like, my conversations with him just felt so nostalgic, but like, that's as far literally as it got when it came to this season.
I mean, as a circle mate, fantastic. Like he was never gonna
Must be
flip.
nice.
He was never gonna flip. My bad. I didn't pick him, but like was never gonna flip. Was never gonna do anything shady, and literally said to all of us, like, "I'll go to the end and lose." Like I can't be mad at that. Like I get like that's okay. I get. I can't be mad at that. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's just weird. But I don't know. I'm gonna shut up.
yeah.
So is there anything he can say
And
to sway y'all then?
Well, let's get to
I
the,
think
let's get
it's
to the negatives before we do that then.
I
Yeah.
was waiting for
Oh yeah,
Benji.
this was all positive.
It was.
well, we're
I
gonna
love you,
move right
Jimmy.
along. And speaking of becoming one of my elite employees,
Oh, no.
Benji, you're like
You're
static.
you're glitching, Benji.
so we've talked about positive. Let's get into the negatives of Jimmy's game. What has y'all perplexed about Jimmy specifically?
Well,
Perplexed is a great word, actually. That's
the
crazy.
problem is Jimmy's great to talk to when you talk to him. The problem is you don't talk to him often unless you were working with him. And I'm glad that specifically AJ is here to give for both Allison and well, no, to give perspective on Allison and Jimmy because you were working close with them. I'm not glad you're here. You know what I'm saying. Because it does seem like our theories were kind of accurate that yeah, these people are talking more to the people that they're working with, and once again, that is fine, especially if it's the two of you sitting at the end. If you're sitting next to someone at the end that is talking to everyone, I feel like it wouldn't be as great for you, but because the two of them basically played the same way as far as that is concerned, yeah, it works. um Negatives for Jimmy, and it's the same thing that I have for everyone that was Allison Circle. From a lot of our points of view, it kind of seemed like everyone was kind of playing for her in that circle, and then at least one person outside of that circle. And it became very aggravating. Now, when Mike came in and said, or I think it was Mike that came in and said that Jimmy straight up said, "Hey, I'd be willing to lose to all three of you." It's like, yeah, that's a fun thing to say out loud and not believe it, but like if that is true, and I hope someone asks him that question tomorrow, if that is true of like, oh yeah, you were just willing to lose to anyone at the end that were in your circle, it's like why are you here? That's what's so frustrating about this is there are a lot of us, in fact all of us, that want to be here because we want to win. Yeah, it's fun and friends and all of that stuff. Yes, I get it. It's been an amazing time in this community, but I also enjoy winning, and I hate losing in situations where people are not are willing to just, you know what, it was a fun ride, but I'm good. I can't vibe with that, and I know that a lot of other people have kind of said the same thing. So that's kind of where I'm aggravated with Jimmy. If it's true, if it's true.
I say you all seem really excited to talk about Jimmy's negatives, and now nobody's saying anything.
I mean, he kind of
Nobody.
Andrew kind of said everything, really.
Yeah.
I
Jimmy
feel like
barely talked to me. When he did talk to me, he was lying to me. And a lot of the stuff that he said was pushing this idea of our two circles being strong when, like I said, I was never included in any of the plans at the beginning. So literally, he was just lying and then following Allison the whole time and doing good at challenges. That's how he got to where he's at.
Mhm.
I have a couple things like with him, but no, the finding out from Mike saying that he would have happily got in third place and let those two go to the final two together. That I don't know. It to me, it really irritated me having to hear that because I literally like after coming off of last season and playing the game that I did and getting the invite back for this season, I really wanted to play a lot harder and I wanted to play the best that I absolutely could. And then I get blindsided and then like having to deal with that and having to get that having the game get taken away from me so suddenly. And then just for somebody to be going closer and closer to the end, being like, oh, I'll let these people go to the finals over me. I'll let these people do that. It just is very frustrating to see that because I would kill right now. I would kill to be sitting where him and Allison are at this current moment. And I know all of you guys on here would also kill to be there as well. And just to hear him say that is just like, it's just crazy to me.
That's my line. Uh, no, I feel the same way. Like, you all know how I feel. I wanted to be in the game very bad. Similar experience. I got to play again, and I didn't have a good experience last time. And I wasn't involved in the game whatsoever. I was iced out completely. So I came in and I wanted to play, and I wanted to play hard. And to have multiple people that it seemed like they just like did not give a damn about anything that was happening in the game, didn't care to reach out, didn't care to think of anything other than the straight and narrow, this has already been decided path was very frustrating to be in the game with. And to hear that at the end was even worse. Even worse to have to hear that. It's just disrespectful. It's disrespectful.
No,
So I,
really.
I do. Oh,
Go ahead. Oh.
sorry. Keep going. Keep going.
Oh no, I was
Oh,
just gonna say another thing too. I was like, because I kind of when I was like conversations with him as well. I don't know, like it seemed like a lot. Some of his game decisions in the game, especially like with the Josh and Frank. But well, it turned out he was lying about that. But he was using like the logic of oh, I can't get rid of I don't want to get rid of Josh because Josh is my friend outside of this at all. And I feel like he took some personal outside relationships and kind of like used that a lot when making his choices, even if he was lying about them.
yeah. So there is one thing I want to touch on, and it's very much of for the people specifically who are not more decided. I would love to have everyone be open going into the finals, but at the same time, I understand that the game is a game, and sometimes it's not happening. But I have a question basically. What is the deal breaker for each finalist for you? If they say like this specific phrase, or if they say this specific thing, like, oh, well, I ran the game, or something like that, like, what is that deal breaker for you to be like, oh, I can't vote for you now? Like, what is something that if they say, like, if they say a certain, like, I was the most social player, I was the most like, what do you like? Are you looking for like some humility? Or are you looking for confidence? Like, what is something that they could say that would lose your vote?
I think from the perspective of Allison, I do think there needs to be an apologetic side to people on the jury too, in the sense of the isolating and all that. But in terms of the strategic decisions, I wouldn't want to see apologizing for that, if that makes sense. Like if you ran the game from front to back, own that. but I think there also needs to be that other side of talking to the Graces and the Chanels of the world that felt kind of pushed to the side there. So I think there needs to be that. And I think if it leans too far one side or the other, that would be a negative for me. But and again, I love them both, but it's like if that would end up being a vote against her from me, not necessarily for Jimmy, if that makes sense. If it's like everything's apologetic or everything's just too bad, so sad, that would be a negative for me.
Sort of.
Kind of.
It's
No,
giving
no.
underwater.
Yeah.
You
Maybe
are underwater, my love.
put it
It
in the
might be
text
easy just to type it out.
Yeah, type it in the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah, right now I'm so sorry your speaker is giving under the sea.
But I
Yes,
will.
ma'am.
I do have a question because it did get brought up. I'm not gonna like. This is just a hands up kind of thing. Before like basically. So the perspective so far, it seems like right now it doesn't really matter. At least from my opinion, it seems like this is more about Allison owning her shit rather than finding a way to vote for Jimmy. Like it seems like if there is votes for Jimmy, it's more of Allison. I'm voting against Allison rather than I'm voting for Allison. So is that like by raise of hands? Is that what you believe this perspective is? It doesn't really matter what Jimmy says in FTC. It's more about what Allison does in FTC to own up her answers.
Yeah.
Okay, if they say anything as far as I had a great relationship with, knowing that they did and they pissed me off. Okay, so
Yeah.
like managing. Okay, that makes sense.
And so Chanel, I mean, that's what to answer Billy's first question. My jury question has been the same for 6 years, and that it's probably not going to change tomorrow. And especially when I don't throw the word love around often, especially in these games. Like, oh, I love everyone, like blah blah blah. I was like, okay, cool. Tell me anything you know about me then, or these people that you claim you love. If you love everyone, like what do you know? We've been in this game. We all have talked about how long this game has felt, and it was roughly a month. Um, you had to have learned something about everyone here, besides where they're from. Um, and I played this game with I think Maya, where we kind of sat there and went through where everyone was from and what they did for a living, like just for funsies, and it was great. I don't trust that either one of them could do that for anyone. And I'm still not going to ask them that. I'm going to ask them, just tell me something you learned about. And if you can't do that and you're going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, like I was great socially, this, that, and the other, it's like, so what does that mean? We have a lot of conversations in this game. I feel like almost everyone here, maybe everyone here, could give a fun fact about everyone else in this room, and it wouldn't be that hard to do. I don't trust that either one of them can do that. So whoever answers that question better is going to get my vote. And I'm going to make it very simple on both of them. I'm just going to ask them something very basic that we both talked about. If you can't remember that, then sorry.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like if you ask them that, I feel like they're gonna kind of struggle. And I've like never thought that other finalists in the past I've had to feel that with, but I feel they are going to have a hard time.
Because I guess my next question would have been like, what exactly do they need to say to earn your vote? Like, but that's more of like, I guess for me, it's more of a Jimmy question. What can Jimmy say to you guys to earn your vote for Jimmy? Like, right, like, because it seems like right now, again, I'm gonna keep prefacing on this. It seems like it's just for Allison or against Allison. What can get all of you in besides Denson, because Denson already touched on it. What can get you in the I'm voting for Jimmy because this is what Jimmy said? Is there anything?
I like I think I said it last night. Unless there's a Christy Bennett moment of revealing that you did all this behind the scene, I don't know. Um, I don't know.
Are there any moves that he came up with or made, or other than offering himself up on the block?
which was
I mean,
crazy.
there was he I guess originally had the idea of the tie that round that Grayson and Morgs left that Morgs had told me about, and I told him absolutely not, we're not doing that. And then came back later that night and said, so about that tie you wanted to do, okay, yeah, let's do it, but I don't know if that's counts.
And it seemed, but the thing is, he
I'm
brought up
trying.
the idea of the tie, but he definitely, I don't think he was the person that was like, oh, it's definitely tying. Let me rally numbers to make sure it ties. I don't think he did that.
No. I mean, he had the two votes that round. Because he and I had talked after I talked to Morgs then, and Morgs was kind of like, hey, I'm a little iffy because, Jimmy wants to do this tie. If it's going to be, that close of a margin, I think we need to pivot off of this plan. So I'm like, okay, I'll go talk to Jimmy. And I basically told him, I'm just like, hey, like, no, we're not doing the tie, like, not happening. Let's like, I really think it's too cute. Let's not do that, and then go from there. So like he had the idea, but it was like he knew what like Z looked like the destination, but getting to there, he didn't have a lot of weight into how to get there.
Say it does feel from my perspective, he was always just solidly a number on Allison's plan. And so I think that is a detractor for me, as well as, yeah, if he's someone who legitimately was okay to play for second while everybody else is trying to play for first, that's not someone I want to give my vote to. And so I think it's going to be hard. You would need to address that, yeah.
I think somebody should directly, honestly, I think someone should directly ask him that tomorrow because, yeah, like
I mean,
I don't know, it's just
Maybe he
being
doesn't
considering
even
I'm
want
the
us
one
to
he said
vote
it
for
to,
him.
considering I'm the one he
Maybe
said
just
it
one
to, I have
second.
no problem. I have no problem asking about it because I mean, I was there when he had said it.
I don't know. For me, the only world the only way he's gonna be able to get my vote is if like he puts on a very, very stellar final performance and like some of the things that he choices he made in this game were out of a strategic mindset. And then if Allison like completely just bombs her final speech and doesn't own up to her game and not answering the questions, like that's the only reason why. But I don't know that I don't see that happening. I'm gonna be so real.
Morgs, can I ask you a quick question? What
Sure.
when did the beef start with Allison and Allie? Like, cause for me it just felt like it kind of like just wasn't there one day, and then all of a sudden it was like I don't want to say World War III. It was like
I'd
on
say that
fire.
the beef with Allie and Allison was exacerbated a lot by their relationships with Scott and who felt that they were going to gain control over that Scott number heading into the game. There was already a little bit of tension. And then when Allie was not having Scott in her corner, it became because of Allison, which was true. She pulled him right away, and there was nothing she could do from that point. Exactly around that vote,
Okay,
and then from then on, it was just they're against each other.
thank you.
Not gonna lie to you. I'm kind of out of questions. I kind of just want to open it up to like more of a, unless Benji has any questions, I kind of want to open it up to like a last kind of conclusions based thing. Like, and basically, I have one question to like kind of sum it up for you guys, and it's a two-parter. One, did you guys enjoy playing this season? And two, did you enjoy the game that you specifically played this season? That's all. Don't
I was
Who's
just
gonna
saying,
say
yeah.
all
something?
talk at once.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
I
I really
nodded.
enjoyed. I really enjoyed my time in the game. I would say that the first half was definitely a lot better than the second. I think once the circles kind of got leaked prematurely, I guess it did kind of lose a lot of the fun and the mystery of who was in what circle, uh, which is fine. Like that's whatever. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed spending time with y'all, and How I think I did, I mean, I got to touchy subjects, which is really all that matters. And I did really well in it.
And
So
you almost won again too, so
won what? Oh, the challenge, yeah. Yeah. I should have done it the night before. It's fine. I really enjoyed it. And me and Morg's gonna have a movie night tomorrow. Movie day tomorrow.
If there, I guess I don't have any questions since we are wrapping up. Thank you to Prod for having both Billy and I here. I've always loved being in the space 2 times, now 3 times as a guest. But it's always nice to come back and get to pick y'all's brains. I've loved watching you guys this season. And yeah, I can't wait to see how the finale goes. Billy, do you have any other final words?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll thank Prod for asking me to come back. I know my appearance fee is pretty high for season 5 winner. I know it's kind of my appearance fee. My appearance fee is a little high, but they paid it. It went through the Zelle. But
The check cleared.
nah, I'll always be here for the collective. But genuinely, I'm excited to watch you guys grill the shit out of them. It's not fun being on the other end, but very true, Julia. But no, seriously, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys spending your Friday nights in the prime of your life on a computer with me.
I don't know about Prime, but
And
Well,
thank
like
you, Billy and Benji, for joining us on this lovely Friday night as well.
Thank you for both having no lives and being at home like the rest of us and Chanel.
Yes. Chanel making us all look bad, but she's that girl, so I
With
can never be
that,
mad at Chanel.
period. With that, I will just remind you in less than 24 hours, we will have a winner.
oh,
Goodbye, everyone.
I'm gonna do this because it's a prod perspective thing, and I love this. Go put a pre-vote in your production chat for who you're voting for to win this season, because if you, God forbid, things happen
Fuck.
24 hours